any increase in the burden of government. So I don't know what's going to happen with the welfare system, but it isn't going to increase dramatically because.
Well, Ian, let me go back to your throwaway line, and it's a good throwaway line. No, just because you were 5 feet tall when you're 10 doesn't mean you're going to be 22 feet tall when you're 20. You might be dead when you're 20. You might die when you're 6. Because more often than not, when governments implode from too much taxes and too much regulation, instead they go into a hardcore tyranny, and Mao Zedong kills 40 to 60 to 80, depending on the statistics. The Chinese say 84 million people. Or Joe Stalin goes hog wild, or Pol Pot. And so statistically, very rarely do we have a 1776 where it goes in a good direction. It normally goes in a bad direction. So historically, when we implode here very soon and go into cardiac arrest, the maggots of big government are going to actually consume everything.
Well, I don't think that you're going to.
By the way, that's Mark over there.
Yeah, it was me that made that statement. I don't think you're going to see that in America. There are as many guns in this country as there are people, and you're not talking about Cambodia where people are trying to scratch a living out of the dusty earth. You're talking about a relatively wealthy nation, one of the wealthiest nations the world has ever seen, and its citizens are armed and have at least a modicum of the understanding of the ideas of liberty.
Also, Alex, the idea that the country should survive, I think, is fallacious anyway. I mean, who really wants the federal government?
They can have it.
Right. I want nothing to do with the federal government. I think that as far as getting toward a smaller government / free society, secession is going to be a very important step. So if the federal government doesn't implode within the next few years, hopefully some state government people will say, we've had enough, we're done with this, we're out of here, and then maybe that'll begin an avalanche of other people seceding. I can tell you that here.
Okay, but let's talk Turkey. Generally in history, when you have secession movements funded by the British twice in our history, it ends up being a move to break the country up to then bring those smaller pieces into a larger imperial union later.
It just depends on what really all this depends on is, in my opinion, a paradigm shift, and that paradigm shift is to shift away from the idea of supporting coercive governments. I mean, to that end, here at the upcoming Porcupine Freedom Festival in 2 weeks in northern New Hampshire, there's going to be a mass signing of a Declaration of Independence, basically, from people basically saying, look, we don't want anything else to do with federal government, we don't want anything to do with the New Hampshire government, and we just want to live like free people, and that's what we're going to do. So you bring people like that together who have that mindset, that liberty mindset, you bring them together, and the state will wither away eventually, because it just simply, the idea will wither away. The concept of the state, it's an old idea, and it's a bad one.
But Karl Marx said the state would wither away.
Yeah, Karl Marx believed that the state would wither away after growing it to the point that it encompassed everything, and I think we're going in the opposite direction of that, Alex.
Yeah, we did just legalize. They just legalized knives here in New Hampshire, so things are going in the right direction, even with the very initial phases of the Free State Project going on. And that comes back to what I was saying earlier about obedience. There's a civil disobedience and non-cooperation movement going on up here that I've never seen before in the liberty movement. The liberty movement historically has always just been, okay, we're going to run some candidates once every 2 years and 4 years. Get 3% and then come back and run some more candidates. But we actually have people up here who are saying no more. I'm not going to follow
the mainline libertarian movement, when they pick Bob Barr, who is a patriot on the surface, but when you really look at his votes, Mr. CIA, I mean that is a joke.
Yeah, well, that's why I actually resigned publicly from the Libertarian Party before they chose Bob Barr, because I'd seen them going in a really negative direction for a long time. And one of the reasons why the Free State Project was so exciting to me when I first heard about it was because I knew the Libertarian Party wasn't getting any traction, and I knew that it had to be more than just voting. That if voting changed anything, they wouldn't allow it. Clearly, you know this. I mean, you talk about the left-right paradigm all the time, and I know that you've been long out of that. But now I think we need to encourage people to get out of the government paradigm. The idea that there's some sort of benefit that can come from using coercive violence over other people, and
listen. I understand all that, and I appreciate you guys, enlightening me or attempting to enlighten me on the deeper nuances of all this. But I've really looked at the angles myself personally, and if I can use state governments as a step to block the federal government that's been colonized by offshore mercantile corporate interests that are bigger than any government in the aggregate, you know, in the sum total. If I can, I mean, I'm in a desperate move here just to block total enslavement. So if I can use state governments through 9th and 10th Amendment powers to sabotage the federal takeover and to then get some fortresses built, you know, at the state level in people's minds to then demonstrate liberty and then move against the federal government, we can abolish it or whatever we choose at that time.
That's a difference in mindset. I don't want to move against them or anything like that. I just want to live like a free person and ignore them.
But see, that's not how it works. They're moving. Here's the deal. They're moving against the states and federalizing them. So when I say move against them, I mean take back the just powers of the states reserved to the people and to move against the tyrannical behavior of the feds to block their takeover. See, there's a takeover. The government is getting ready to stage nuke attacks very soon.
They've been taken over. I mean, the states have been beholden to the federal government for decades.
What are you going to do when Homeland Security sets a nuke off in Chicago and when they send men to your house to arrest you, pal? What are you going to do then?
What's that got to do with immigrants?
No. But I mean, we're having a larger. Well, we're not just having tiny little discussions. Down
I just don't know. I mean, if Homeland Security sends somebody to my house to arrest me, I will probably attempt to videotape it and stream it straight to the internet. Best I can do. I mean, what am I going to do? Shoot them?
But listen, but see, what I'm telling you is we have this approaching giant flotilla of tyranny firing on us now. We are under attack. And it's great to talk about paradigm shifts into no state and to think of ourselves as total individuals.
It's not just talk, though.
I'm actually trying to galvanize people into a movement of liberty for smaller government, freedom, self-defense, anti-New World Order in a desperate attempt just to stop the New World Order from completely taking over.
Admittedly, I am for the idea that states are able to, you know, use their powers the way they wish. So in the case of Arizona, I'm kind of torn. I like that the state is saying that we're not waiting for the federal government on this issue. However, I dislike what they've chosen to do the issue they've chosen to do that on. And I think that it's ultimately not going to work because California essentially says to the immigrants, come on in, and I guess they're giving them welfare. I don't know exactly what's going on in California precisely, but I do know that they're very friendly. Many of the largest
I don't want anything to do with California. That's why I agree with you, Alex. I mean, if people can use a state government to separate themselves from the federal government, I'm fully in favor of that. I'm fully in favor of the idea of secession.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm not in favor of secession if it's been like it has in Texas, where the media gives attention to some guy living in a cabin who declares himself president because his cousins voted him in. I mean, if we had the legislature move for secession, then I would gauge as a citizen of Texas, you know, whether or not I thought this leadership was good. But sometimes in a secession, you end up getting something even worse. And so, again, I mean, that's
because it's about paradigm shift here, and that's about the mindset that these are leaders. Politicians aren't my leaders. Not one of them has ever been. Not one of them will ever be. And so if we get people together who are of that mindset, that independent, freedom-oriented mindset, bring them together to the same place, that gives them a level of influence they've never had before. Because right now, liberty lovers are distributed. They're all over the place, but they're not very many of them, and there's, you know, only one or two here and there. And it's rare that they encounter other people who appreciate freedom. So bringing those people together will allow for the kind of secession that is peaceful and that is liberty-oriented.
All right, well, let me bring this up to you because, I mean, on the same subject of immigration, it integrates into that. I don't have a chance to hear your show a lot, but I hear it from time to time. And, you know, always find it to be informative when you're covering the news. But I have gotten that you guys don't think 9/11's an inside job, right?
I don't have an opinion. I've watched the videos, and I think there's some really great questions. I mean, the Building 7 thing is like a big question mark, right? But what I focus on is moving forward because I don't want to take any side of it.
Okay, what do free individuals do then about patented viruses that can be sprayed on you or put on your skin that go in and create basically lobotomies, a selective lobotomy in key areas of your brain to turn you into an emotionalist drone? Because it's being looked at by DARPA to just fly over every city and spray us, and then we'll just be drones that go get on trucks and go to the incinerators. See, you guys are talking about free state projects, and I realize that the globalons is basically what I call them. You know, these global eugenics mass murderers, they've decided that they want to kill everybody. And
it doesn't scare me, Alex.
Right. If they spray me or if they spray you, what are we going to do about it, Alex? All we're going to be is mindless automatons, and we won't care.
I'm going to have the will to expose them and have Chris Matthews attack me next Wednesday is insane. That's in the script.
I have had more fun in the last 3 years since I moved to New Hampshire. I wouldn't care if they they dropped a nuke on New Hampshire, because at least I had a good time with other liberty-minded people.
They're not going to drop a nuke. They're already fluorid. I mean, okay, what do you think? I mean, you think water fluoridation's a kind of a squid-belly kook thing?
Well, we don't even have it up here in New Hampshire.
I'm really not sure about that. It seems to me that most people are cow-eyed drones already, so they don't need fluoride.
Well, they've been getting it for 60 years.
They don't have it here in Keene, New Hampshire, and they're not doing any. They're not rising up against the New World Order. Yeah, they're the same old normal humans.
It's the government education, the indoctrination system that really.
Well, sure. It's a complete cocktail overlay. It's just. Point blank, I've got the government documents where they said we're going to put fluoride in the water to brain damage them. And I
it's really a matter of an approach, Alex. The difference for me one of the big differences, I think, between